My parents gave debt collectors my phone number and address, lied that I was covering my brother's massive loan, and told them to hunt me down. They let strangers harass me over a debt that wasn't mine, so I made sure they'd regret ever involving me in this nightmare. And what I did left them speechless. And what I did left them speechless. Okay, so IDK if this is gonna sound as wild as it felt living it, but whatever, here goes. Maybe someone's got advice or just wants to see how this unfolds. Never thought I'd post something like this, TBH. But I'm past the point of just letting it go. And if my family sees this, whatever, they started it. So I live in a kinda average apartment, nothing special. Not super close to family, but I go see them maybe every couple weeks, mostly when I can't get out of it. I'm not really big on the constant check-ins. I'm not one of those guys who calls his mom every day, but we're not estranged or anything. Just the usual family stuff. Anyway, last month I started getting these calls like actual phone calls, not spam, not the car warranty bots, but real people talking. And not just calls, texts too. Numbers I didn't recognize, all with the same energy. Hey, we need to talk about this debt, call us back, stuff like that. At first I figured, whatever, probably a mix-up. Someone fat-fingered a number. Happens all the time, right? So I block a couple, ignore a few more, it's just background noise. I've got actual things to worry about. But they keep coming, like increasing. And then I get this letter, real paper, in my mailbox, not even addressed to resident or whatever, but to me. First and last name, full address, all correct. That's when it starts feeling off. I mean, I've never taken out some big loan. I'm careful with my money. I don't even use credit for most stuff. Literally have like 2 subscriptions, and that's it. So I start thinking, did someone try to use my info? But there's nothing in my credit report. I check all that. It's clean. So here's where it gets weird. I'm at my parents' place for dinner, and my brother, Clayton, older by 2 years, classic golden child, always a new business idea, always about to turn it around, is acting super weird. I mean, he's not chatty with me usually, but now he won't look at me at all. Just keeps checking his phone. My mom is pushing food at me and talking about how family always helps each other. And sometimes you have to step up when people need you. I brush it off. She's always guilting everyone about something. Then next day, I get another call. This time super aggressive. Guy says he's from some collections agency. Not gonna name it, but it's real, I googled. Says if I don't pay up or call back, they'll have to escalate. So I call him back because I'm sick of this. And I ask point blank, what is this about? He says something like, you're the listed contact for Clayton Nolan, loan account ending in whatever. Balance is like over 15 grand. I straight up say, this is not my debt. And he says, well, your parents told us you were the responsible party. You're covering for your brother, so unless you help us, we'll keep contacting you. At this point, I'm thinking, no way. No way my parents would do this. Like, yeah, they've always been weirdly obsessed with Clayton's potential, and I get stuck helping him out. Rides, tech stuff, whatever. But giving out my info to debt collectors and telling them I'll cover for him? I'm texting my brother. He leaves me on read. I text again. Nothing. I ask my mom. She sends back something like, you're overreacting. It's not as bad as you think. Just help your brother. You know he's struggling. So I go over there. Just show up. No warning. Clayton won't even come out of his room. My dad is in the living room watching TV, acting like nothing is wrong. My mom's in the kitchen, pretending to clean, but clearly waiting for me to say something. I ask her straight up, did you give those people my number and address? She sighs and says she had to because they were calling all the time and she couldn't deal with it, and she thought I could handle it. I ask, did you tell them I was responsible for the loan? She just looks at me and says, well, you always figure these things out, and Clayton needs time to get back on his feet. And if you just talk to them, maybe you can work something out, or at least buy him some time. I started raising my voice at that point, not yelling, but I'm definitely heated. I say, you realize they're harassing me? You realize this is not my debt? She says, well, family helps family. I tell her I'm not covering for him, not now, not ever. And she just shrugs, like she's disappointed in me for not being the bigger person. My dad finally gets up, says this isn't the time, I'm making a scene, and I should just calm down. I tell him, you handed my info to strangers. You let them come after me for something I never agreed to. Clayton finally comes out, but only because he hears the noise. He's got that look like he'd rather be anywhere else. He says, look, it's not that big a deal, they just need someone to talk to. And I say, then you talk to them. Why am I dealing with it? He says, they won't listen to it. They only want money. And my mom jumps in, says, your brother just needs a little help. You're the only one who can. Please, just this once. I laugh, not because it's funny, but because it's so typical. I say, this is not going away. I'm not bailing him out. I'm not talking to these people anymore. And if they keep calling me, it's on you. My mom slams a cabinet, says I'm being selfish. My dad sits back down and turns up the TV. Clayton tries to leave the room. I block him, ask him straight up, "Did you tell them I was paying?" He just shrugs, like I'm the bad guy for even asking. I push past him. Not hard, but enough so he knows I'm done playing the nice guy. I leave, slam the door behind me. Not dramatic, just practical because I don't want to look at any of it. On the drive home, I keep thinking, how did it get to this? Like, I get that Clayton's always been their favorite, and I get that they want to believe in him, but handing my info out, telling strangers I'm on the hook for 15 grand, just because I'm the one who actually pays my bills and doesn't ask for help. I get home, and I've got 3 missed calls from the same agency and 2 texts from my mom telling me to think about what I'm doing to the family. I know some people probably think, just block them, move on. But you don't get it. My parents are the kind who will keep pushing, keep finding ways to push the responsibility on me, because I'm the one who always figures it out. And I'm done. I'm not letting them walk all over me, not this time. I'm not just blocking numbers and hoping it goes away. If they want to make me the bad guy, fine. I'll show them what happens when you screw me over like this. I've got a plan. If they want to see what happens when I stop being the reliable one, they're about to find out. Next time I go over there, they're not going to know what hit them. PT2 coming, if anyone cares. This is just getting started. Update 1. Alright, so update. Since a bunch of people messaged me or commented, here's what actually happened after that disaster dinner. Honestly, I didn't even care if anyone wanted an update. I just need to get this out somewhere because IRL everyone's acting like this is family business, and I should just suck it up. Nah, not this time. So, after that night, I basically stopped talking to my parents for a few days. I didn't block them or anything, mostly because I want to keep tabs on what they're up to. Plus, I know how my mom gets when she feels ignored. She'll escalate just to get a reaction, and I wasn't about to give her that. I kept getting calls from the collectors, but now it's more than just my phone. They somehow got my email, and then my landlord texts me, says some guy came by during the day asking for me, said he was following up on a family debt. I was honestly embarrassed, but also so pissed because I know exactly who gave them my address, my mom, and probably my dad too, even if he pretends he's not involved. So I go over to their place again, this time during the day, and they're both there. I don't even ring the bell, just walk in. They never lock the back door, classic suburban move. My mom is in the kitchen, scrolling on her iPad. My dad's in the garage, fiddling with the water heater, which never works right. Nobody looks surprised to see me. I ask my mom, "Did you give these people my address?" She just goes, "It's not a big deal. They needed to know where to reach you. It's better than them bothering us all the time." I tell her it's not better. It's actually 10 times worse, and she says if I just handle it, they'd stop. I guess that's the part that always gets me. She genuinely thinks I'm some kind of safety net for everyone else. Like, Clayton's always been the mess, so I get to be the cleanup crew. My dad says, just pay a little each month, get them off your back. Clayton will pay you back eventually. I laugh and ask, when has he ever paid anyone back? My dad just shrugs and goes back to the garage. My mom starts in about how I could have a little empathy, and I say, empathy is not giving strangers my info and telling them I owe their money. At that point, I was so done, I just left. I didn't even slam the door because I want them to know I'm not playing anymore. I go home, check everything. Bank accounts, credit, email, socials. Nothing compromised, but I change all my passwords anyway. Then I start thinking, if they can use me as a shield, I can make their lives just as annoying. Not going to do anything illegal, but I'm not helping with anything anymore. No more tech support, no more, can you help us with this bill? Or can you fix the Wi-Fi? Or can you talk to Aunt Leah? She's mad about something. Nothing. I start small. I ignore my mom's texts about her phone not working. And she texts again, and finally calls, and I just let it ring. Then the collectors start calling my work number. Not going to say how they got that, but it's not hard to figure out if you have someone's email signature. I get these calls in the middle of meetings, and then my manager asks if everything's all right because apparently someone urgent keeps calling. Now I'm actually worried, because if this keeps up, I could get written up or just straight up lose my spot. I text my mom, tell her if this messes with my job, I'm done with all of them. She calls me dramatic and says I'm being cruel to Clayton. I call my brother, finally, just to see if he'll even pick up. He answers, barely says anything, just grunts. I ask him, why can't you just own up to your mess? He says, you wouldn't get it. You've always had it easy. Everyone expects me to fail anyway, so why should I try? I say, you're not even trying. You're just hiding behind mom and dad, and now you're hiding behind me. He hangs up. That's it. So now I start making things uncomfortable for all of them. In every way I can think of that's not illegal. First thing I do, I text my Aunt Leah, my mom's older sister. She's never liked how my parents baby Clayton. I tell her the whole story, not in a gossip way, just straight facts. She's pissed, says she's not surprised, but also says she's going to bring it up at the next family gathering. I know that'll set my mom off, but honestly, I want her to feel a little heat. Next, I start returning all their random mail to sender. Anything that shows up at my place with my parents' name or Clayton's name on it, I just mark it as return to sender. I know it's petty, but I want them to deal with their own stuff for a while. I stop paying for the family Spotify. Just cancel it. Let them figure out their own subscription. I know that's not enough, but it's a start. The kicker is when my mom calls me, again, and I finally pick up just to see what she'll say. She's almost crying. Says the Wi-Fi won't work and she can't get her iPad to connect, and she needs it for her book club. I tell her, sorry, you'll have to call someone else. I'm not available. She actually snaps, says, "You're punishing us for helping your brother?" I say, "Yeah, you could say that." She hangs up. I can hear her slam the phone down. A few days go by and now my dad calls. Says the water heater's out again. Can I come look at it? I say, "Sorry, I'm busy." He just sighs, says, "Well, I guess we'll manage." For the first time in my life, he actually sounds like he doesn't know what to do. I almost feel bad, but then I remember the landlord texting me about strangers knocking on my door, and I get over it. The next week is just a mess. My brother starts texting me, like, out of nowhere, asking if I'll talk to the collectors just this once. Says he's desperate. I say, "You got yourself into this, you get yourself out." He sends this long rant about how I always think I'm better than him, that I'm mom's favorite now. LOL, as if. And how I don't understand what it's like to be in his shoes. I don't even answer. I'm tired of the guilt trips. Then my mom tries to guilt me into coming over for Sunday dinner, says the family misses me, says she'll cook my favorite, which she gets wrong, BTW. I say, "Not coming until you fix this." She says, "You're tearing this family apart." I say, "You did that when you gave out my info." She hangs up again. I hear her slam a door this time, so now I'm basically iced out by my own parents. They're acting like I'm the problem, like I'm the one who ruined everything, just because I won't clean up Clayton's disaster anymore. But here's the thing. They're stuck. They can't ask me for help. They can't guilt me into fixing things. And now everyone else in the family is starting to notice something's off. Aunt Leah asks my mom at church if everything's okay, and my mom just says, "Oh, Nolan's going through something." Yeah, I'm going through being sick of their BS. I start looking into other ways to make life harder for them. Nothing illegal, just inconvenient. I know all the little things that keep the house running because for the last 10 years, I've been the one setting up the bill payment, fixing the router, calling the plumber, all of it. I stop reminding them about anything. No more birthday reminders, no more, "Hey, did you pay the trash bill?" Nothing. I let them forget. I know it'll come back to bite them. And honestly, I'm waiting for it. Then, last night, I get a call from my dad, again, and this time he's actually angry, not just tired. He says, "You're really going to let your mother deal with all this alone?" I say, "You both made this mess." He says, "You're not a part of this family if you can't help." I tell him, "You already decided that when you gave out my info." He hangs up, and I hear him slam the door on his way out. So yeah, I guess this is what it looks like when you stop being the family doormat. I'm not done. Not even close. If they want to see what happens when I refuse to play along, I've got plenty more ideas. Next step, I'm going to hit them where it actually hurts, the stuff they care about, the stuff they can't easily fix with a phone call or a guilt trip. If anyone's got ideas, I'm all ears. Part 3 coming soon, because this is about to get a lot messier. Update 2. So yeah, here's the next bit. I swear my family drama could be its own trashy series, but whatever. Real life's messier than that. I was already cutting off support stuff and making things inconvenient, but NGL, it didn't really feel like enough. Like canceling Spotify and not fixing their Wi-Fi is petty, but they can wind their way around that. I needed to actually get under their skin. Financially, socially, the works. If they wanted to make me into the villain, fine, I'll be thorough. So first weird thing, my mom starts texting me around 7 a.m. on a Monday. She knows I hate early morning anything. Something about missing a payment for the water bill. And did I get the notice too? I'm not even listed anymore. Haven't been for over a year. But she must have just assumed I'd know. I ignore it. She texts again, says the trash didn't get picked up and now the bins are full. My dad calls, leaves a voicemail saying the car insurance is late, and asks if I changed something. I did nothing. They just don't pay attention because I usually handled those reminders. So stuff's starting to pile up for them. Then I get a group chat going with my aunts and cousins, just casual. But I keep dropping little breadcrumbs about how stressed I've been with all these calls and random people showing up. I don't say everything, but enough that Aunt Leah picks up fast and starts asking questions. She calls my mom and I hear, from my cousin, LOL, that there was a huge fight. My mom says I'm airing family business and I'm being vindictive. Whatever. Now I know I'm getting to her. I decide to step it up. Next Sunday, I show up at their house unannounced. I walk in, mom's on her iPad again, dad's reading the paper, Clayton's nowhere to be seen. I just sit down and say, I want to talk about the debt. Their faces drop. My dad says, we've already talked about this. There's nothing more to say. My mom tries to play the victim, says she can't sleep because she's so worried about the family breaking apart. I tell them, I'm not paying a cent, and I'm not fixing anything for you anymore. You're on your own. She says, you're being cruel. I say, no. I'm just giving you what you gave me. She slaps the table and says, you're tearing this family apart for nothing. I say, what about when you gave my info to collector? She just looks away. My dad says, enough. You're not welcome if you're going to act like this. I stand up, tell him, fine, but if you think I'm done, you're wrong. I slam the front door on the way out. So next move. I remember all the stuff I used to do that they never even noticed. I handled their online accounts, set up autopay for half their bills, even did their taxes a couple times because they were too lazy. I never had full control. Not stupid. I'm not putting myself on the hook. But I know all the logins and what's connected to what. I log out of everything, remove my number as backup, erase their saved passwords off my old devices, and set up account recovery only to their own email, which they never check. Suddenly, their usual, can you reset my password, doesn't work. That's not even illegal, just basic boundary setting. I hear from my cousin that my parents are freaking out, stuff's getting shut off, late fees piling up. Clayton posts some vague family is supposed to help each other thing on Facebook, which is kind of funny because he blocked me, so I only see it because my friend screenshots it. I send the pic to my aunt with a shrug emoji. Then, I start talking to my grandma, Dad's mom. She's old school, doesn't like drama, but I just tell her that I can't visit because there's too much stuff going on at my parents' house, and they made a big mess with money, and now it's all on me. She says she'll talk to my dad. Next week, my dad texts me. Says, Grandma's upset. Why'd you have to drag her into it? I tell him, maybe if you all just handled your own business, I wouldn't have to. The collectors are still calling, but now they're calling my parents directly too, since I redirected every call I could back to their main number. I did this by going through their old emails, which they never clear out, and changing the callback preferences. Again, nothing illegal, just using what's already there. Now my mom is the one getting 5 calls a day. At this point, Clayton tries to get smart. He texts me and says, if I don't help him, he'll just tell everyone I'm being abusive. I say, go ahead. I'll send screenshots of everything to the family group chat. He backs off, says, I'm ruining his life. I tell him, not my problem. Mom texts later, says, I'm punishing the whole family for Clayton's mistake. I say, you all made me the target, not just him. Then, I stop doing the little things for Grandma too. Just to show I'm not picking sides, but I'm also not available. She asks if I can come fix her TV. I say, sorry, not until things get sorted. She's annoyed, but gets it. The best part is, my cousin tells me their family's group chat has exploded. Everyone's talking about what happened. Nobody can believe my parents would do that, even the ones who usually defend them. My mom tries to get ahead of it, says I'm exaggerating. But then my Aunt Leah says, no, Nolan showed me the message. So now my parents are getting dragged by their own sibling. I go to a family lunch first time in weeks, and nobody talks to my parents. They just kind of sit there, barely eating. Clayton doesn't even show up. My aunt pats me on the back and says, you did the right thing. Sometimes people need to face consequences. It's weird, but for once I actually feel like someone's on my side. When I get home, my mom leaves a voicemail, says, you've made your point, can we just go back to normal? I don't answer. Normal is what got us here. So now bills are late, collectors are calling. Everyone in the family knows what my parents did, and Clayton's out of excuses. I'm not done, but for the first time it actually feels like they're the ones under pressure. Not me. Next part, I'm going to make sure they feel the fallout every time they try to dodge it. They want to play games. I'll play harder. Stay tuned. Final update. All right, here's how it went down. Can't say I'm proud of how ugly it got, but TBH, I'm not sorry. People always act shocked when you actually push back instead of just taking it, but whatever. If you've read the other parts, you know this wasn't just about money. My parents picked a side and threw me under the bus, and Clayton just watched. If they wanted drama, I was going to give them the full show. So after that last family lunch where everyone basically iced out my parents, it got weirdly quiet. Like, I didn't get any calls for a couple days, not even from collector. My cousin texted me that my mom was taking a break from the group chat because she was feeling attacked. My dad apparently told everyone I was exaggerating. It was a misunderstanding. Clayton started posting those vague family is everything memes, which is so wild because he never posts anything unless he wants money or sympathy. But then I started getting the little signs they weren't done. I found out my mom tried to call my old roommate to get a message to me because I wasn't picking up. She asked my Aunt Leah to talk some sense into me. I even got a DM from a random cousin I never talked to saying, can't you just forgive and move on? Like the campaign was on, but I wasn't about to fold now. So here's where I stopped playing nice and started going for the jugular. I knew for a fact my parents had a big anniversary coming up, and they loved throwing those cringe backyard parties for the whole extended family. They'd already invited everyone, sent the group text, all that. Every year, I'm the one who handles setup, music, grilling, tech, cleanup, whatever. This time, absolute radio silence from me. I RSVP'd maybe, and never answered another text. Week before the party, my dad calls, first all fake friendly, then annoyed. Says, everyone's expecting you. Don't make your mother worry. I say, not helping until you fix what you did. He hangs up. 2 days later, my mom calls, crying. Says the party's falling apart, can I at least bring the speakers and help with the playlist? I say, not my problem. She actually tries the, you're a grown man, act like it. I say, yeah, maybe you should have remembered that before you signed me up as the family ATM. She slams the phone down. The day of the party, I get texts from half my relatives asking where I am. I just reply, ask my parents. Apparently, the party is a disaster. My cousin FaceTimes me while standing in the backyard. Grill's not working, music's just whatever phone someone plugged in, nobody's setting up chairs. Everyone's whispering about the debt thing. My dad's stomping around looking mad. My mom is crying in the kitchen. Clayton's not even there. I just watch the chaos, eat takeout, and scroll. After that, my parents stop pretending. My dad leaves me a voicemail saying, this is out of control, you've embarrassed us, you're acting like a child. I don't answer. Now, this is where I actually put them on the spot. I know all the little cracks in their system. My dad's always too busy to open his own mail. I used to collect his bills from their mailbox and put them in a folder for him, because if I didn't, stuff would get missed, so I stopped. I also knew when their car registration was up because I'd always remind them and even do the online renewal. Didn't say a word this year. Then, I unsubscribed from every auto reminder I'd set up for their utilities, car insurance, everything. I didn't touch their accounts. Just let nature take its course. Within a month, their water got shut off for a day. My aunt told me. Apparently, my mom called her sobbing. My dad's car got a ticket for expired tags. The trash piled up because they forgot the holiday schedule. My mom called me one morning furious, said, you're doing this on purpose. I said, just handling my own life like you told me to. Then, for the cherry on top, I made sure Clayton couldn't use me as a shield anymore. Next time a collector called, I gave them my parents' landline. I said, this is the only number you need. I also changed my voicemail to say, if you're calling about Clayton's debt, contact his parents. If you're family, leave a message. I started sending every debt-related email I got. They were still coming in, straight to my mom's inbox and CC'd my dad. Every time I got a text from a collector, I forwarded it to both of them. No more buffer. They started getting the full blast. Family events got awkward. My parents stopped showing up to anything outside of church. When they did, people kept bringing up the situation. My Aunt Leah called my mom out at a barbecue. Straight up said, why did you put Nolan in the middle of this? My mom just got up and left. My dad tried to push past her and slammed the car door. My grandma called me one night, said, I wish things could be fixed, but I get it. She didn't ask me to come over. She just said, everyone's talking about it and people are tired of excuses. Meanwhile, Clayton started texting me again, saying, you got what you wanted. Everyone's mad at mom and dad. Just stop now, please. I ignored him. Then he tried to guilt me, said, you're still the favorite. You always win. Just help me out this once. I told him, stop blaming me for your own mess. My mom finally showed up at my apartment unannounced, banging on my door. I opened it. She started crying, saying, you've ruined everything. We just wanted to help Clayton. You could have made it easier for all of us. I told her, you let strangers harass me. You lied. You treated me like a backup plan. I said, the only thing I'm sorry about is not standing up for myself sooner. She slapped my arm. I just stood there. She left, slammed the door behind her. Now, no more calls from debt collectors. Everything goes right to them. Extended family doesn't trust them anymore. Clayton's out of excuses. My parents are scrambling to pick up all the pieces I used to hold together for them. And they're failing. They can't guilt me, can't use me. And everyone sees it. I know some people will say, this is harsh, but FR, I don't care. You burn me like that, you get burned back. I'm not fixing it for them, not ever. They had their shot. I'm done being the safety net. So yeah, that's what happens when you make me your scapegoat. No forgiveness arc here. They wanted to see what I'd do when pushed. Now they know.